In this video, I'm going to show you how you can take this piece of scrap wood and turn it into this beautiful cheese board. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Casual Builds, the channel focused on bringing you beginner DIY and woodworking content. So this project is super simple, and it really is just made from this one piece of walnut and a little bit of epoxy to give it that extra pop. You can make this entire thing with a jigsaw and just some hand sanding, but I used a few extra tools just because I wanted to get it a little bit more flatter than it was. So that being said, let's just jump into it and let me show you how to make one. First of all, I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy out there. Although we all may be going a little stir crazy, I am sure all of my fellow woodworkers have been able to spend a little bit of extra time out in the shop these past couple of weeks. The silver lining, I guess. My wife and I just welcomed our second daughter into this world about 2 weeks ago, and between her and our 2-year-old, our household has been lively. Anyways, big shout out to my wife for holding down the fort while I sneak out to the workshop for a few hours each night. So far, you've seen me milling down the piece of walnut that I'll be using for the cheese board. Since the board was a bit too wide for my jointer, I had to get a little creative. I ran the face of the board through the jointer, which then I laid down on top of a flat piece of MDF. The piece of board that didn't get surfaced hangs off the end, and then I'll send that through the planer to get the other side flat. Take the board off the jig, flip it over, and then I'll run it through again. I squared up the edges of the board after that. So here's the fun part, designing the shape of the cheese board. I drew a circle at the top, a horizontal line a few inches down from that, and then connected the two with some curves. This is your chance to be creative. A bandsaw to cut out the design, and luckily I was able to cut most of it out before the blade snapped. But if you don't have a bandsaw, a jigsaw would work perfectly here as well. Next, it was time for some sanding. I used a rasp, a disc sander, a sanding bit thing attached to my drill press, a Dremel, and then some good old-fashioned hand sanding. Once that was done, I took out my router with a 1/4-inch roundover bit and then softened up the edges. And then finally, I sprayed everything with water to raise the grain, and once that had dried, I came back and I sanded things up to 220 grit. Now we move on to epoxy. I mixed 3 separate cups of epoxy, one with white pigment, one with dark blue, and then one with a combination of both. I was trying to make something that resembled an ocean wave crashing, but I think I was tinkering with it a bit too much and it didn't exactly come out the way I had planned. I'll discuss what I think went wrong here in a minute. And after the epoxy had cured, I came back and gave everything a final sanding, followed by 3 coats of mineral oil. So I think there are two things that I did wrong with the epoxy pour. One is that I wanted it to kind of look like a wave crashing, but obviously it's not the case. It has more of the white color in it, and I wanted more of the darker ocean blue color in there. There's a lot of bubbles in there too. So what I think I should have done is had the darker blue go pretty much all the way up to here and take up a majority of the epoxy, and then just use like that turquoise and then the white really at the end. I also went a little bit overkill on the heat gun because at one point I actually blew the epoxy off the board. So that kind of leads me to my next tip. I would highly recommend waiting to sand everything down until after the epoxy has cured, because I think it was, the surface was so smooth and it wasn't able to kind of latch onto it, but I could be wrong. It could be the type of epoxy too. And then also last thing, I would have put tape on the underside here just to help with all that excess and the drips that were on the back. So anyways, pretty simple project. I think it turned out okay. Not exactly what I had in mind. However, pretty cool nonetheless. So if you thought this video was cool, I'd appreciate hitting that like button. And if you're not already, please subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one.